buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a nuestro stand de Simplemente. Seguimos con nuestras presentaciones de las marcas y equipos más innovadoras de todo el mundo, aquí solo en Simplemente. Ahora estamos con nuestro amigo que es fundador y dueño de la marca Rotolight, que son lámparas de LED de alta calidad, pero bajo en costo. Y él está aquí para informarnos cómo funciona todo de la línea de Rotolights. Te presento a Gammons de Inglaterra.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Noah. So my name is Rod Gammons. I'm the chairman of Rotolight, and I tend to do the designing. There is another Rod Gammons who's my son, and he's our managing director, so he does our international sales. And I'd like to just show you each of the products in the Rotolight family. I'm going to start with our original ring light. This is the ring light that we introduced about 6 years ago, and since then we've sold 60,000 of these, and last year the RL48 ring light was in the movies Pacific Rim, Skyfall, and the nominated for Best Picture Captain Phillips. In Pacific Rim, it was actually in camera. They had 2 press conferences in the film, and it was on the cameras that they used. What's useful about this is that it's a really lightweight, quick, easy device to use for run and gun daytime TV, small productions, interviews, in-house stuff. It's also very nice for photography and things as well. But it's a truly continuous little light. Its nominal color temperature is 5600, and what we do is that we have a series of filters that we use to modify the color temperature, so we can take it up to 6300 and all the way down to 3200 using different filters. We also use neutral density filters to dim the light, and we have a diffuser and a pink filter, so if you're working near any Kino Flow tubes, which are usually quite pink, then you can add pink to this to make it match those tubes. All of those filters all live in the back of the light, and each one is numbered so you can see exactly what it is and what it does. The light runs on 3 AA batteries, and I'm using rechargeables here, and these will last for about 3.5 hours at full power, which is really, really good. It doesn't get particularly hot, and it's fundamentally weatherproof, so when you put the filter holder on, you can be shooting outside in quite bad weather and it will work really well. And we have a really nice little stand adapter that goes through the middle of the light, which is how you fix it onto the camera or your swivel head or tripod or suction cup mount. And this little shoe mount adapter comes off, and that leaves you then with a 1/4 inch 20 standard tripod mount, so that'll mount literally onto any arm and clamp or device or whatever. So it's small and very nifty. The final thing I should tell you about it is that it has a really incredibly wide beam angle. It's about 140 degrees. So it's really useful little light in tight places. So if you're doing the next edition of Top Gear or something, stick it on a suction cup on the window and it will literally light the whole of the area on the inside of the cockpit of the car. It's really good. Now I'd like to show you, with the help of our lovely model here, a little bit of how these would typically be used. We do a single light kit that we call the Creative Color Kit, and we do a double light kit, which unsurprisingly we call the Interview Lighting Kit. So with the light just naked like this at 5600, what you'll notice is that we get a lovely, smooth, even light on the face of the model. We also, I don't know if you can close in and see any of this, but in her eyes you've got this very, very pretty little ring light reflection. There we go, that's it. So you can see that very pretty little point light, which gives you that very natural, what looks like a reflection of the sun. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this cosmetic diffuser, which is part of the kit. What this does is that it hides any reflections, any kind of shiny points, by disguising them as if they were skin colored. So if you close in again, that's without and that's with, and you notice that there's a very, very significant change in both the reflected stuff and also the warmth of the skin tones. So I'm going to use that as my key light, and I'm going to use a second one. Imagine this was on a little stand behind her. So if that's our key light, we can now get this lovely sort of fashion model look, side fill, hair light at the back, bouncing it off the hair at the top, Actually, I better do it around this side, actually. Here we go. So now you can see it. There it is on the side, over on the top, coming down behind for a nice little sort of hairline outline. You can even hide it directly behind her, actually, like that, and just to get a nice little outline on the hair. So thank you very much. That's very kind. So it really is the ultimate little run and gun kit. It's remarkably affordable. It's also ideal for education because what it does is it teaches you about lighting in a very old school kind of neutral density filters and CTOs and different color filters for different weights and stuff. So it's a really nice way of teaching kids, and it's pretty indestructible as well, about lighting. So I'm just going to put this away. Just bear with me 1 second. Pop that back in here. So the whole of the kit fits into the nice little Rotolight belt pouch. You've got your 2 lights that pop in there. Then we have additional filters, which are the color effects, which are here. That gives you extra cosmetics and then side fill and colored lighting effects. And you've got space at the front of our pouch for 6 extra batteries. So that's one whole set for each of these 2 lights. So theoretically, you're going to get 7 to 8 hours full runtime just with the lights in your pouch. And you've got space here for your phone and your keys and stuff. So it's a very useful little pouch. We use that across some of our other products as well. So I'd like to now show you one of our newer products. Actually, we just recently launched this. This is the Rotolight NEO. It's the light on top here. And what's very exciting about the NEO is that we took the technology that we designed for the ANOVA, and that gave us a very intelligent little compact production light. So you can see on the back here, when it powers up, you've got a dedicated control for brightness and a dedicated control for color temperature. And it will dim all the way up to 100%, where it's emulating a 700 watt light bulb, but only drawing 9 watts to do it. Or we can dim it all the way down to 0, which a lot of LED panels can't do, actually. They can't go all the way down. So if I set it somewhere in the middle, like that, and then I can show you the color temperature. So at the moment, it's displaying 4080 Kelvin, but I can take it all the way down to tungsten here, just below tungsten at 3150. And you'll notice that the skin tones are very nice, actually. I mean, I do have quite a suntan because I just came back from holiday last week, but if I now go up to the other end of the spectrum, and you'll see we're going up through the middle band. Now, I'll just show you something interesting about the way the controls work. If I make a very small change, you see it's going up in little steps, like 20 Kelvin steps. If I press and hold the control, it's going up now in hundreds of Kelvin. And if I whiz the control, it goes up and down in thousands. So it's very quick to get to set to the desired frequency or Kelvin that you want. And the light runs on 6 AA batteries internally, so we've got a little compartment here. Again, I'm running this on rechargeable Panasonic Enoloops, which we'd thoroughly recommend. They're very good. And on 6 of these, you'll get, again, 3.5 hours full runtime. And you can also use the DC input. We supply each light with an AC to DC adapter, and that's a universal voltage. But the input here, the socket, is actually from 5 volts up to 17. So you can literally plug it into a car lighter socket. You can plug it from a D-tap connector on the back of a broadcast battery. It's got a really versatile way of plugging it up. And the big important thing about this, again, it's that familiar Rotolight circular form factor, which gives you this beautiful, soft, wrappy light. If I shine it again into me, you'll see, I don't know if we've got another camera on that, but you'll see that we'll have a lovely, soft, even lighting and getting that nice little point light reflection in the eyes, which is really good. So I'll show you a couple of the really extraordinary things about NEO. Beyond the basics on the light as being a nice light, it has some fantastic functions which you get to by pressing both buttons together. That takes you into the menu mode, which you probably saw just flash up when I pressed the buttons together, and now it's showing DISP for display control. So we can actually control this red display, because on a camera in a studio, that could get very annoying. So what we do, we can either have it particularly annoying, switching it to high, or we could have it slightly less annoying on low, or not annoying at all. We can switch it to the off position. What happens is that after 5 seconds, it just automatically powers off like that until you touch it next time. So you don't have to have something glowing in your face when you're in a dark studio. So that's the display thing. Then we built in an auto fader, which you can set up from up to 12 seconds down or up. And the really great thing about this is that having it built onto the light, it allows you to do proper, practical, in-camera lighting effects that you wouldn't be able to do in post-production. So I've set it to go down in 4 seconds. So if you can see my hand there, 1, 2, 3, 4, off. So it gives you a lovely fade up, fade down with a 12-second range in each direction. So that's a very useful little tool. Then the next thing is we've invented this new concept, which is going to be really great for both portrait photographers and also cinematographers who are using this light. It's a thing that we call true aperture dimming. And what it does, you enter the ISO from your camera, let's say 1250, well let's say 800 actually. Then you enter the exposure time from your camera, let's say a 60th of a second. And then finally you enter the distance to your subject, let's say 3 feet. And if I switch it on now, this control is now the dimmer for the light. And you can see that what it's actually saying on the display on the back is the exact f-stop that should be set on the camera. Now the really nice thing is that you can turn it round. You can do it in a different way. You can actually say, I only want my model's nose in focus, and so I want to work very specifically at f3. So at this point now, you just adjust the light, rather than messing with your exposure composition, you just adjust the light to f3. Take a few photos, do a little bit of video, and then say you want to move back a couple of feet, so you go 1, 2, and you go back in and adjust the light back up to f3. It's really quick and very easy to do, and it's incredibly accurate, and it gives you a different way of working, so you're not relying on the camera to automatically mess up your exposure by changing the ISO or the exposure time or the f-stop automatically. So that's true aperture dimming. And then I'd like to show you some other Rotolight magic, which is we've built in cinematic special effects into NEO. And this is the whole range of all the really useful stuff, the stuff that on a shoot on a day when you actually needed it would cost you probably a couple of $1,000 American to get a gaffer, a flicker box, a DMX distribution hub, cabling, set it up, lights. It'd take about 2 or 3 hours to set up and hold everybody up. Whereas now, built into the light, you've got all sorts of useful stuff. And by the way, if anybody's got photosensitive epilepsy, they should look away now because I'm going to demonstrate stroboscopic. Can we get the microphone up?
Que si alguien tiene sensitividad a luces como de flash, como problemas de epilepsia, que no vean esa parte, que vamos a flashear muchísimo. Muy bien, gracias.
Yeah, thank you very much now. So, switch on the flash, and you see we can adjust the speed, so we go faster or slower, but sometimes when you're running video, if you've got flash going on, and the camera that you're using has what's called a rolling shutter, you can get a problem where you get a grey bar moving down the video screen, and that's because the rolling shutter is moving so fast, the flash of the light is not filling the whole frame on a frame-per-frame basis. So as well as having a speed control, we've given you a duration for each flash pulse control, so you can take the flash and make it longer or shorter as you wish without changing the speed, and that allows you to trim out by tuning out that horrible rolling shutter video artifact that you'll get. So that's a really useful feature. We also build that pulse adjustment into the next effect I'm going to show you, which is lightning. Now lightning's really good fun. We can trigger lightning, so I can put it into trigger mode and go 3, 2, 1 lightning. There we go. And I'm going to show you this effect again in a minute on the ANOVA, so I'm not going to spend too long showing it to you on the on the NEO here. But that's a very nice effect. And if we just go back out now to the menu, go to the next effect, which is throb. That takes a sort of a pulsing up and down light. You have a filter holder on the front of NEO, and we could put an interesting sort of green filter or something, and that would make a very nice kind of glowing spaceship control panel kind of effect. We have another similar effect which is called cycle, which does the same sort of thing, but it goes through the color range as it dims up and down. Now the next effect I'm going to show you is fire, and what's important with fire, I want to just change the color temperature, so I'm just going to jump back to brightness and color operation, take the color all the way down to full tungsten, and we're now going to go back to the menu, back to SFX, back to fire. At this point, you'd measure that with your light meter, and this level here is your maximum peak light level from the fire effect. And then when you switch it on, firstly I'd like to demonstrate what would look like a candle. So I'm going to create a candle effect. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit to about there. And I'm going to take the afterglow down to about 20. And now this should look like I'm being lit on one side by a candle. So I don't know if you can see the side of my face, but yeah, there you go. So that's a sort of a single candle effect, and very nice that is too. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the fire effect to look like a big fireplace. So I'm going to go all the way up to a different speed, speed it up a little bit for the flicker, take the afterglow up to 35%, and I'm going to turn on a special function here called color swing blue. What that does is that emulates the flames going up the chimney. So in the fire grate, they start yellow and they go blue as they go up the chimney. So what it does when you switch it on, each of the peaks goes yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. And it gives you a really nice kind of 3D part to the fire effect. So, you know, you can see the shadows moving slightly on the face and stuff. So if I now shine that onto me, that should now look like a full fireplace effect, like a nice little log fire burning off to my side. And it's a really, really nice, very useful effect. Getting fire right is probably the most difficult thing for a vision effects designer. But the great thing is with this, it's a small enough, physically small enough light to hide behind things on set. So if you wanted to sneak it behind a kind of little coal scuttle guard or something and have it kind of glowing up the wall or shining onto the side of somebody's. We were very fortunate to have help when we designed the effects from a very famous visual effects designer who's done all of the last 7 or 8 Bond movies and various other big films. A chap called Stefan Lang. And if you go to rotolight.com or via Simplemente's website, you'll see there's some nice videos of Stefan Lang demonstrating how he sets up the fire effect and seeing it actually on Sony's big set. They have their own for their digital cinematography center at Pinewood Studios, where we're based. They have a lovely permanent set there, and they sometimes lend us that, and we do videos there. So, yeah, you'll be able to see Stefan demonstrating the fire. It's really, really good. And then the next effect is police. Now, what I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to jump out back to ordinary operation, which is brightness and color. I'm going to take the color all the way to the other end, to the blue end, and I'm going to turn this up a little bit. And then go back to the effect, SFX, police, and the last little bit of this is that I'm actually going to hold a filter in front because I haven't quite got time at the moment to get out the proper filter for this. But this with a little blue filter in front now looks like a very, very, very convincing emergency services kind of sign. I don't know if you can see on the side of my face there, but they've definitely rumbled me and the police are on their way, basically. So they're going to be taking me away in minutes. So I don't know if you can see that, but you could use a red filter. You could have a combination of both, actually, red or blue on the set from different directions. That would be really nice. Interestingly enough, we sell the NEO packaged individually. It comes in a belt pouch with the power supply and the filters and a little shoe adapter. Or we do a wonderful 3-light kit, which has 3 of these very nice, sturdy, 7-foot tall stands, 3 power supplies, 3 sets of basic filters, swivel heads, and all kinds of stuff. And that's a fully airline legal IP67 waterproof flight case for that. And it's a really, really nice tool to take on the road. We've got a lot of cinematographers now using just that for doing, the bulk of their movies where they're doing internal scenes. They're just using the three little Rotolight heads, sometimes with the barn doors, because there's barn doors available for the NEO, and sometimes with the Chimera, which is also an available stop box for the NEO as well. So that's the fire effect, and the last one I'm going to show you from the effects on the NEO is TV. And with TV, what we do, you can also trigger this. So I'm going to switch it into trigger mode. And again, if you can see my face from the front now, when I switch this on, imagine your actor walks on set. I'll stand there like that. Your actor walks on set, and he picks up a remote control and pretends to switch on his television set like that. And now what you should get is the effect of the TV screens changing. You see little screen changes, and on each of the screens, it flashes a little bit. There's a little bit of movement within the screen as well. So it actually looks very convincing, particularly when you set it up in the right sort of environment. Once you've added the sound effects, it's a pretty wonderful version of a TV set, and very convenient as well. So that's NEO. It's a really versatile little light. If I just turn it right down for a second, we'll just have a quick look at the front of it. There we go, put it on 1%. So you'll notice here at the front, I've got this removable filter cover, and I've actually been using this with a diffuser filter in there. So that's a full diffuser. Just pop the cover back on, but that's how it works. So that's where the filters go. They just pop in the front, and that's the filter holder for the NEO. So I'm going to move over now, and I'm going to show you our latest product, which we're very proud of actually. This is the new version of the Rotolight ANOVA. And if I just turn that up a bit and turn it around, there we go, we've got that in the background, that's nice. So this is the ANOVA, and what we've done is that we've added 25% more LEDs. So each of these 6 LED boards is actually exactly the same number of LEDs as there are in the NEO. Each one is 120, so it's 720 LEDs overall. That makes it actually not 25% brighter, but it's actually 43% brighter than our previous version, which is the ones that we're using up here to light the scene with. The other incredible thing is that this is the first LED light in the world of this sort of size as a panel that can take a proper flash photo sync input and has ultra fast sync. So it's 10 times faster than what they call fast sync. Fast sync is 125th of a second or 4 milliseconds. This does it 10 times faster. It does it in 1/2500th of a second, and that's 0.4 of a millisecond. It also, as a flash unit, it has absolutely no recycle time. So unlike every other conventional flash that you've ever worked with, which has to recharge its capacitors, and that can sometimes take 2 or 3 seconds before you can hit the go button, this doesn't. This can do it immediately. So I'll just demonstrate that because it's pretty impressive actually when you see it go off. I'm going to switch it into flash mode, turn the flash on, and I'm going to make the duration of the flash 50 milliseconds, and you'll see there's the flash there. It's actually got a flash guide number of 24, which is quite a decent amount of light actually, very useful even on a direct sunshine basis for filling in and stuff. But here's the clever thing, is that normally, and I've got a wireless trigger by the way plugged into the flash port, so I can also trigger it from the camera like that as well. But I don't think you've ever seen a flash gun do this before. That's about as fast as I can get it going with my finger, but it'll do literally any frame rate. It's just not a problem. It can recycle in nanoseconds, so it's just incredible. Add to that, if you think about a conventional big flash gun, like a really good one, like an Elinchrom or a Broncolor, typically they have a large flash head in the middle of a reflector, and they have offset a little curly-whirly fluorescent modeling light. Now, there's going to be a problem because those two devices are fixed color and they're never ever going to be quite the same color. Secondarily, that modeling light is off-center and it has a different characteristic as a light, and it's got a parallax error. So it won't produce anything like the same look or the same shadows as the main flash does when it goes off. This is entirely different. This fixes all of those issues. So you can adjust the color temperature of this to match exactly any ambient light that's in the room. You can then set a modeling light level, so a continuous light, so you can see how the picture's going to look and frame your pictures. I don't know if you can see my hand behind it, but there's now modeling light level coming from the light. And then as soon as you're ready to go, so we've now got our modeling light set up. It's exactly the same light, same shadows, same color temperature, and then we can flash or multi-flash. And it's flashing away from the modeling light. The flash power is actually 150% of the maximum, the normal maximum of the light. So bearing in mind that this light is 43% more powerful than the previous generation ANOVA, and then when it goes into flash mode, it goes 50% brighter than that. It's pretty impressive, actually. It's a really, really nice, very useful thing. So this light is really the bridge now for serious image creators, people who do a little bit of both, who do photography and cinematography and video, and they want a light that really will, they can just take one light and it's going to do everything. And this is the light, this is the one. It's got built-in DMX on the back, so you've got DMX in, DMX out. The lights come as standard with a V-lock battery mount plate, and if you want to power the light from something like an Anton Bauer battery, Anton make a little converter plate, which is called a QR200A, and so you can use both the gold mounts and the V-locks. And we're very proud to show you this as well. This week, we've launched the first Rotolight V-lock batteries. We're using really, really high quality Japanese lithium ion cells, and this is the largest size battery now that you can take on an aircraft. It's a 100 milliwatt hour battery. So these are very light, they're very good, they last, they're strong, they last a good long time. And I found actually on the first day of the show here this week, where we're doing from 2 till 8, and I was doing demos on the light from about 20% output up to full output, and the battery lasted all day. By the end of the day, there was still 1 or 2 bars of battery left. So it's a remarkable little battery. Our batteries come with their own travel charger, so you don't have to buy an expensive external charger. Just buy the battery, you get the travel charger with it, and that's universal voltage, works anywhere in the world. Excuse me. So you'll see on the back of the light, we've changed the yoke as well. So now the yoke has this little turn into it. That allows us, when you're using barn doors, to have the light beveled down so it can get to a low subject. So that's very useful. And on the front of the light, let me just turn it down a little bit more. On the front of the light, you'll notice that we've got a little metal grill here. That's actually the filter holder. So you can slip filters straight onto the front of the light like that. Just drop them straight in. And there it is. And then if I want to do the police effect properly, there we go, that's more like it. Got a bit more output there. So there's our police effect with that nice big filter on it. And again, it would be really great if you had maybe a NEO by the side with a red one on it, so you had like a little bit of difference in size and structure. But it's a really, really nice feature to be able to drop filters in. We also have various light modifiers, some that we make. So I'm going to show you this. This is the honeycomb louver, and that fixes onto the same little spigots at the front with quick release pins, and that reduces the beam angle down to 30 degrees. It's nominally 50 degrees, and that's really great if you want to have like a high light with onto a hairlight at the back of the head, and you don't want it spilling onto your background or whatever. You can just reduce the beam angle, which is very nice. And the other little thing I'll mention about this is that with a filter in there and the louver on the front, you can still just fold the barn doors flat and put this straight away into a case, so you haven't got to spend 10 minutes taking it apart. It's really good like that. Let me take the blue filter out now. There we go. That's it. Each ANOVA comes with a full pack of filters, which are basic. You've got a LED 216, which is a full diffuser, a LED 250 half diffuser, a LED 184, which is a very, very nice cosmetic diffuser, and then a couple of degrees of pink, because these do end up regularly next to Kino flows, which are nice lights but very pink. So if you want it to match them. And then we do this additional pack of color effect filters, which include 1 or 2 other very useful diffusers. This one is my favorite, actually. This one's called Hollywood Frost, LED 255. And what I like about that most of all is that it's only a very small amount of absorption. So it only takes about half a stop, just over half a stop out of the light, but it gives you a really lovely amount of diffusion for that, and is really good. And then you've got all sorts of color and side fill and backlight colors, and also cosmetic diffusers. There's a Moroccan Frost, which is great for darker skin tones if you have people who are from darker places. So there's our lighting pack. And if I just show you a couple of other nice things. If you are a reseller or a dealer and you're looking to sell Rotolights, with the ANOVA, the really great thing is that you can put it into demo mode. So when you power it up in the morning, well, actually, I'll show you a couple of things about this. As a rental house, if you power this up in the morning holding down one of the buttons, it'll say, do you want to zero all of the user data? I obviously don't. But and then once it's actually rebooted, then we can, let me just take you into this. That's it. It has demo mode. So without having to have one of your sales team actually spend a lot of time learning how to run the light, you can just literally turn it on, put it straight into demo mode, and it'll then sit there quite happily, just demoing all the SFX and the lightning and the fades and stuff. You can see it's kind of going off in the background there, doing all sorts of fun things. So if you put this in the shop window, it'll certainly attract some attention. It's really good like that. So you're looking at an output power from ANOVA of 7,200 lux at 3 feet, which then peaks at another 50%, so over 10,000 lux on the flashes. It draws only 48 watts to deliver what is effectively the same output power as a 3,500 watt tungsten bulb. So very impressive, and the massive amounts of power saving, not only on your lighting bill, but also on your air conditioning, because it produces virtually no heat at all. It's totally cool to the touch, both sides, even on the front of the light. It has a DC input. We supply them with a AC adapter, but you can run ANOVA from a D-tap on a camera battery, or also from a cigar lighter socket, or any other source up to from 6 to 18 volts. It will go into the very nice Portabrace soft case, or we do it with a beautiful fitted flight case if you wish. Portabrace also make a really nice rain cover for the ANOVA, which actually fits underneath the barn doors. So if you put this on, you can actually be working outside on battery for 3.5 hours at full power with the barn doors on. So I think we're probably getting to the end of my time, are we?
Yeah, about 6 minutes.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. Well, at this point, are there any questions then that anybody might have?
Algunas preguntas para Rod Gammon de Rotolights. Pregunta.
Don't be afraid.
Tenemos una promoción ahora en Simplemente que lleva un kit completo de los NEOs, 3 lámparas con todos sus tripiés, conexiones y una caja que puede volar en avión como en equipaje de mano, para todo el verano. Si quieren conocer más de esta marca, está aquí al lado, frente al set virtual de Zero Density.
We've got some really nice brochures just to the side here, so if you want to come and see me in 5 minutes the other side of the Simplemente stand, I can give you some brochures. I can also show you some really nice photography that was done recently at the Sundance Film Festival by Mark Mann on the new beautiful Leica SLR, using exclusively the ANOVAs, which will give you an idea how the character of this light looks when you actually do sort of still lifes and portraits and stuff. So let me think, what else can we show you? Well, I should just reiterate that the NEO, as well as being available in a single pouch which comes in the Rotolight pouch, is also available as a really good 3-light kit. And Simplemente have a wonderful offer on here at the show. I'm not sure how long it's going to extend after the broadcast, but I'm sure if you call them up, they'll be very happy to get you sorted. So they're matching the best online price you can actually find for the 3-light kit, which is fantastic, because that is a landed and distributed and fully supported price here in Mexico with their wonderful support team, who I can thoroughly vouch for. They're lovely people. And the other thing I should mention is that on the ANOVA, there's 1 or 2 other accessories. So we have, the ANOVA comes with the power adapter, with the basic filter kit, and obviously the filter frame, and it comes as standard with the V-Lock battery plate and the DMX built in. We will be launching a wireless version of this at the end of the year, which will be also upgradable. So if you buy one of these now, you'll be able to just plug the chip in, upgrade the firmware, and it'll be the fully wireless version that can then use our Magic Eye app, which gives you control of up to 256 of the ANOVA lights, and sort of scenes, and you can do a playlist and transitions and all kinds of really nice lighting desk stuff. In terms of other accessories that are available, obviously there's the beautiful Rotolight batteries which come with the travel chargers. We have, I don't think we have them on display here on the set, but we have some very chunky lighting stands which are great for lights of this sort of size. And also Portabrace not only make the rain cover, but they also make a really nice shoulder soft bag with a fully padded shoulder strap, which is great if you're kind of just going around in the city and you want to throw the light in and out the back of your car. It's very good like that. I think that's probably most of what we can say. If you're ever in London, you're more than welcome to come and see us at Rotolight. We're at Pinewood Studios. Here in Mexico, we're represented exclusively by Simplemente and their dealers. And they always have stock, and they would also be very happy to see you come in and give you the full demonstration at Simplemente's headquarters.
Ok, muy bien, muchas gracias. Un aplauso fuerte para Rod Gammons.
Thank you so much. Thank you.